ending this seemingly endless stream of shootings in schools and campuses and public places across the America. That is the goal of my next guest. Former astronaut Mark Kelly and his wife, former Congresswoman Gabby Giffords, have been working on gun control and other ways to stop this epidemic of gun violence since she was shot during a campaign event in 2011 in Tucson, Arizona, when she was a congresswoman. In his new book, Enough, Kelly writes that he supports the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, but he proposes restrictions that he says should appeal to gun lovers. Mark, thanks so much for joining us. Your passion for this is obvious. What can be done to prevent the sort of shootings we saw today? And obviously, we don't know the details of these cases, so let me broaden it out. When you hear about school shootings or other mass shootings in public, what law can actually stop them?
Well, you're never going to stop all of them. I mean, that's clear. I mean, we've got 33 or so murders every single day from gun violence in this country. But we can impact a lot of them by doing some common sense things that do not affect responsible gun owners. So those things are having an expanded background check system to make it difficult for criminals and dangerously mentally ill to get their hands on a gun. Right now, there's a great option for them is to go to a gun show or over the internet. You know, there are laws that we could do to improve and combat gun trafficking, which is a big problem in this country. How about mental illness? You know, often you see with, mass shootings, there'll be some component of mental illness. The mental health system of our country has been, pretty much dismantled over the last 20 years. And, I will certainly agree with the NRA that on that, point is that mental illness is a serious issue. So there's actually a lot we can do. We're not going to affect every one of these cases, but we can put a big dent in them.
I think one of the criticisms of the gun control movement and its ability to get anything passed is, at least in the wake of your wife's tragedy in Tucson, in which others were killed, I should note, and then of course there was the movie theater shooting in Aurora, there was Newtown. None of the measures that I heard proposed in any serious way on Capitol Hill actually would have done anything to have stopped those horrific tragedies. It seemed as though Democratic lawmakers just took down what they thought might pass, closing the gun show loophole, and tried to pass that even though there wasn't a direct cause and effect. Do you think maybe trying to find legislation that would have affected Tucson, Aurora, Newtown, that might be more successful?
Well, I think it depends on how much detail you look into each individual case. What happened with Gabby and her constituents in Tucson, Arizona? Here was a guy who was clearly mentally ill. The community college knew, his parents knew, he didn't get any treatment. He didn't get adjudicated mentally ill. If those things had happened and he went to a federally licensed firearms dealer and the federal government knew he was mentally ill, he would not have been able to buy a gun there. But what is to stop him from going down the street? So yeah, it does get kind of complex when you're looking at each specific case. But clearly in the cases of the mass shootings, mental health is an aspect of that. But it just makes common sense that right now 60% of all gun sales occur with a background check. Why do we allow the 40%, the other 40% to happen? We know that people fail a background check in the gun store. Why do we give them an option of going somewhere else we shouldn't?
I want to talk about the political organization that you and your wife run. You recently ran and took down this television ad in Arizona. Let's run that.
My daughter was just 19 when she told her boyfriend the relationship was over, and he got a gun and he shot her and my husband. He had threatened her before. I knew. I just knew.
Politico said of that ad, Gabby Giffords gets mean. What did you think of that headline?
Well, I didn't think the headline was really all that fair. We agree it was a tough ad, but the ad was to point out that policies affect people's lives. And we have people in this country every single day that die because there are insufficient laws that protect them. And it's important that the voter knows a candidate's position on these laws. So that's what that ad did. I mean, everything in the ad was accurate, and it pointed out this candidate's position.
Okay.
And when the candidate changed their position, the day before the ad was supposed to come down, we took it down.